I am here with Coldwater's head football coach, Chip Otten. How are we doing today?
Good, Connor. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we are excited to be covering this game this week between you guys and Hopewell-Loudon. And just, I think it's a neat opportunity to be playing against the reigning state champions. So can you just explain to me on just how it was winning that state championship last year?
Yeah, it was a team that we knew going into the season. We had a lot of kids that had played a lot, and a really good core group of about 8 kids that were all three sport guys: football, basketball, baseball, maybe track, mixed in there. And these guys, every one of our seniors went to kindergarten together. So it was a group that they just grew up together, and then we had enough junior guys that were helpers, and so we knew we had a really good side, and we stayed healthy for the most part, and we just had so many of those guys had played a lot as juniors and even sophomores, so it was just rewarding for those guys to stay healthy and finish the deal when we felt like we could.
Why have you been consistent taking this Coldwater team all the way to a state Final Four and keep playing in these state championships?
That's a good question. Part of the reason is we continue to get good numbers. This year actually is our lowest for a while at 58. So we've been up in the 70s and 80s several years. So the kids enjoy to play and like to play. And when you keep winning, our staff are all Coldwater guys now, except one. And all those guys were really good players for us, and they all moved away for a while and got a good taste of other. Obviously they went off to college and went off and coached at other places, and then they wanted to come back and raise their families, and so our turnover with coaches is does not change very often, like a lot of the schools in our league.
Yeah.
People like this area and like the communities, and so we have that really stable staff who are all teachers. So that's a huge, and 7 of us. There's 8 of us. Actually, Nick Hawk is from Parkway. He's a real young volunteer. But and then one other coaches at New teaches at New Bremen. So the rest of us are all in our building. So we see the kids all the time. We all enjoy it. They all have kids coming. My kids are obviously grown, as you can tell. I'm an old guy, but the rest of them, their kids are all coming, and they're
Yeah.
they're they're in it for the long haul.
No, that's awesome. And like, and for you, like, what does that mean to be able to like have those coaches on your team and players that you coached and them just knowing how the routine is already since they've already been through it on the player aspect?
Yeah, that just makes it everything so much smoother. Everybody kind of knows their role and take on those roles and do their job. I don't have to worry about whether somebody's coaching their guys up or taking care of this or taking care of that. Um, and the coach that most of these guys, the older guys, I'm saying older, but they're the oldest is 41, I think.
I
And
gotcha.
and I look at him as he's one of the older, but those guys played for John Reed,
Okay.
who passed away about I guess 15 years ago already. And I was an assistant for John, and he kind of set the tone for the whole program with just being on top of things and demanding a lot of discipline from the kids in a positive way.
Yeah.
And so these guys all played for either John or myself. And then we've had, gosh, we have two quarterback coaches because one just joined us, but both of them were state championship quarterbacks for us. And then the other guys are just good, solid guys that are solid players. And our kids, like I said, with our seniors last year, and I think this year's senior group, all of them went to kindergarten together. So we don't have a lot of movement with our students.
Yeah.
They come to Coldwater and they stay in Coldwater, and so that builds a lot of, I don't know, it just builds a lot of, I guess I'll use the word pride in that. Hey, this is our crew. We're not taking anybody new,
Yep.
and nobody's transferring. Nobody goes from Coldwater to St. Henry or Marion.
Yeah.
Nobody goes from Marion to Coldwater.
They're dedicated, and it seems like that's a big thing, especially conference you play in the MAC, to where once you get into conference play, each team beats each other up each week, and anybody could win. So, can you just explain to me a little bit on what it's like to play in a conference like that?
Yeah, just it really gets you battle tested as you move into the playoffs, and you don't feel like you have to do anything different. Or obviously there's certain teams that you
Yeah.
might play that you're like, oh man, this is we might have bit off more than we could chew. But for the most part, you go into these games feeling like, well, we played Marion Local, we played St. Henry, we played, you know, all these teams that are really solid. We played Tri Village a couple weeks ago, and they came in, I think, averaging over 50 a game, and had a running clock on every team. Um, and I think we wore them out. They weren't used to playing, they weren't used to playing a whole game. Almost all their kids played both ways,
Yeah.
and eventually, we just because of that being battle tested, it kind of warmed down.
I mean, you had 4 MAC schools playing for a regional championship. So that kind of just looks in my eyes that each week really is just it's like a playoff game. Like it prepares you. So whenever you do get into the playoffs, it's just another game for the kids. Not like, okay, now this is playoff football. Like we have to play a different way.
Exactly right. You just hit it right on the head. You don't have to, you go into those games saying, okay, we can do this if you play our game and all those things, that everybody talks about. Well, if we can protect the ball and not have a bunch of penalties and win the turnover battle and all that kind of stuff. Um, and feel good about just go play.
Yeah.
We have a saying, we call it play like you're 10. Right? Just play fast. We call it playing fast, loose, and focused. Come on, let's get ready and go play. And if we happen to get beat, we get beat.
Yeah, and this season, I mean, they brought the playoff format from 16 down to 12 teams. And after that Marion local game, very, very close game, you ended the season 6-4. So what were you thinking on going into week 11 that hey, you guys got in, but you're a lower seed and you're gonna have to go on the road more and play these
Yeah,
games?
yep. That's a good question. Yeah, we had four tough losses. We played Valley View, who ended up in the regional final Division 4 last week, and then Clinton Massey, who ended. Both those teams were 9-1 on the year. We beat Valley View and lost to Clinton Massey. Um, but like you said, with those losses, you go to we like I like traveling. I like to go play new schools, new teams. We went down to Cincinnati for our second game, and then to try Village schools I'd never seen before. So you
Yeah.
go get a taste of some new stuff, and our kids don't care. They just jump on the bus and our old school buses, and we go.
Yep, just go out there and play ball every Friday night. And
Yeah,
what's a week like for you guys? Like starting Monday, going into Friday, just what are the kids like? What are you coaches like going into the game?
yeah. There's a fine line of being business-like and too business-like. Like I said, we try to create an atmosphere with the preparation that on Friday nights, like I said, the last thing I say to them, hey, we're going to play fast, and they all say fast, loose, and focused, and get focused and go play, and of course we're pretty demanding, not in a negative way.
Yeah.
We coach them up all the time. We don't really yell and scream a lot. Um, we technically coach them with a positive attitude and correct things without barking too much. I always tell them, I say the only thing that I'm going to bark at you if it's an attitude or effort thing, and then we'll get after them pretty good. But
What's the commitment like in the off season? Like, do you guys have something that goes on year round, and then especially going into the summertime? Just how invested are these kids? Because well, obviously, statistically, it seems like the kids are always invested. But what's it like in a coach's eyes for your team each
yeah, that's a
year
good
in and out?
question. We have a couple in the winter. We have a couple lifting sessions. So I go to all those sessions because some of the other coaches are coaching other sports, and they have their kids, and they'll show up when they can, obviously. But so if you're in see, like if you're a basketball player, and I don't make them come, but a lot of them will come. We'll have a morning session from like we don't start school till 8:15.
Okay.
So we go from like 6:30 to 7:30, and then we get them out of there. And then if you're not in another sport, typically they'll come after school 3 times a week. And then in the summer, we go 3 times a week: Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning, 6:30 to 8:30 in the morning, and all the coaches come to that. And so that goes out through the summer. We don't do a lot of. Uh, we do a couple 7-on-7s with Walpock and Salina,
Okay.
and whoever we don't play in the league. So we don't overdo the 7-on. We don't go to tournaments
Yeah.
and stuff like that. We kind of know what we want to do, and stick to what we do. And almost all of our skill guys are baseball players
Okay.
because our baseball program's so good. And our baseball coach is my son-in-law, who is also our quarterback coach. So,
Okay.
so we get, and our track coach is the D coordinator. Our wrestling coach is one of the seventh and eighth grade football guys. So all of our guys, we understand that we all need each other.
Yeah.
We need all our best players to be playing multiple sports.
And that's interesting too on a coaching level. You got other coaches invested in other sports, and you can still just see the success that comes out of your guys' school.
Yeah, we feel like that's important. Almost all of us were at least 2 and 3 sport players ourselves, and we like those other sports. When we go to basketball games, there'll be 4 or 5 of us. Go to the games, and we all live in Coldwater, so we all live within. I'm the farthest guy away from the stadium at 2.5 miles.
Okay.
I live outside of town about a couple blocks, but everybody
Yeah,
else is a less than a 5-minute drive to the stadium.
I gotcha. All right, coach. I want to start going into gameplay here. Earlier in the season, you guys played Anna, traveled to their place, and you lost the close game 14-7, and then you're able to turn it around last week and beat them 14-12. Can you just kind of walk me through on that game and how you're able to be successful that night?
Such an evenly matched game with equally pretty similar type players and basically similar type defenses and offenses. We were fortunate to we threw an interception, but the guy caught it on the 1, so we got a safety the next play. So we were up 2-0, and then we got a field goal, and we
Yeah.
were up 5. So weird scores. So really, we only had 1 touchdown. So and then because we got to 8 with the 2 field goals and the safety. When they scored their first touchdown, they went for 2, and both of their touchdowns, we stopped them on their 2-point plays.
Okay.
So that basically was the difference in the game.
Yeah.
But just a really hard nosed, really defensive game. We did had over 330 yards, but we had a tough time getting in the end zone. So our kicker's really good. He had a 43 and a 37-yard field goal in the game. We kicked 2 of his kickoffs in the end zone. The other 2, we stopped them at the 20, so we made them work. Very balanced game. I mean, one play here or there, and they win.
Right.
So it was a battle.
And then that's gonna be one of my questions for you is your kicker. It's Bryce, correct?
Bryce Couchot.
Yep. So I saw that he's definitely gotten some well-earned awards so far this season, but what does it mean for you to have a kicker like that? And whenever your offense doesn't produce and keep driving down the field and you get stopped, and you're in field goal range, you're like, hey, I can get points on the board here and not have to go for it and potentially turn the ball over on downs.
Yeah, huge. We've always had a good kicker. We start really early in our junior high camps in the summer when we have a 1-week camp, and we have stations. And one of the stations is every kid in the camp. All 90 kids go through these 8 different stations.
Okay.
And so you find out real quick that guy could maybe do this. And so we have a former coach who still teaches, who was a kicker and kicked in college. So he'll come out and teach him all the technique stuff.
Yeah.
And then we have a coach on staff who he knows pretty well too. So we've always had a good kicker, and as importantly, maybe more importantly, in a lot of the years, is their kickoffs. There's so many teams that, man, they don't have a guy who kick off, and so like last week, all 4 kickoffs, Anna started at their own 20.
Yes.
And so when they kicked off, I think one was almost to the 50, and so we're getting 2 extra first downs, on the average.
Oh, for sure.
On kickoffs and kickoff return. Marion is really good, and obviously they had a kickoff return for a touchdown on us. So yeah, that's we love having those good kickers.
And then let's move forward and talk about Carson Homan here. He seems like he's your Swiss Army knife, leading with rushing with almost 1,100 yards, 13 touchdowns on the ground, and then he's passing for almost 2,000 yards with 16 touchdowns. What can you just say about Carson and how he's been able to lead success to your team?
Yeah, Carson is a really into all his sports. He was our shortstop of baseball that made it to the state. I guess state we lost in the state semis 2-1, but he was our shortstop as a sophomore. He just kind of gets it and he loves it. So I told somebody, Mike Hearn, who interviewed me earlier today, he probably has watched come in the mornings with our quarterback coach more than any quarterback we've ever had, because he's into it.
Yeah.
And then physically, if you saw him, you would say that guy's a quarterback, because I don't know, he'll say he's 5'10", but probably 5'9", 185 pounds. He looks like I don't know, he looks like a linebacker, I guess,
Yeah.
and kind of plays that way with his runs. But just really competitive guy who wanted to be the quarterback. We have a senior that those two, we weren't sure who was going to be the quarterback.
Okay.
Caleb Schreier is one of our receivers and DBs, and so we made the decision, and fortunately those two get along well, and the senior Caleb was okay with it, and is a really good player for us.
Yeah, that's good. Talking about Caleb and then Caden as well, helping each other out on the outsides. What can you say about them working together and leading? They're both tied with 6 touchdowns on the team. But like the big stat that pops out to me is they both average over 10 yards per reception.
Yeah, they were the two wideout starters last year with that really good team, so they were the helpers. Caden made some huge plays in the state finals last year to help us. He didn't score, but he helped us with some field position. And then they both play defense. Those are the two guys that are on the field every play for the
Okay.
most part. We have a running back linebacker, two running back linebackers that aren't always out there, but Caden and Caleb, they're both about. Caden's about six. I don't know. He's pushing 6'2", 100, and just a lot like Hopewell-Loudon's, number 7 and
Yeah.
2, and those guys, just lean, athletic guys. Both similar that way, I guess. Caleb and Caden. Caden is our leading tackler. We call it the rover in our
Okay.
in our defense. We have 5 DBs, and he's the middle guy. So he's it's hard to get him blocked, so he's up in the mix all the time.
Yeah. And then lastly, I want to talk about Derek Dews. He seems like he's been a dog on the ground when Carson's not running it. But he's got almost 800 yards on the ground, 85 attempts. He's averaging 8.8 yards a carry with 13 touchdowns. So with him helping out Carson, what can you say about Derek's play and also how he contributes to this offense?
Yeah, Derek is also, he was the first team all league linebacker, so he's probably more of a defensive guy. We lost our best running back, Braxton Taylor, in the first Anna game
Okay.
right after halftime. So Braxton was a Derek's a junior, Carson's a junior, and Derek's a junior. So Derek was going to be a full-time linebacker, and well, you'll play a little bit of running back this year if Braxton needs a break.
Yeah.
But when Braxton got hurt, we threw him in. He became obviously the lead dog, along with we have Carter Freed, who's got some decent stats. So when we go two back, Carter Freed comes in.
Have you guys dealt with any injuries this season, and then seeing the growth from guys who had to fill into spots like we're just talking about Derek here? Any other positions that just opened your eyes and impressed you this season?
Yeah, really, Braxton Taylor was our only really main injury guy, and then we lost our tight end last week. He broke his ankle, got leg whipped.
Mm,
Not an intentional thing,
yeah.
just one of those where you're blocking somebody and somebody whacks you down. So that's a tough loss for us because of just because of the depth and packaging of certain formation stuff.
Yeah.
But really, we've been pretty healthy most of the year.
And that's good to hear, especially too on making it this far into the playoffs on a long, grueling season, especially off season, that you can still have a team that's pretty healthy and still playing pretty strong. And talking about strong, I mean, this defense looks really good. You're only holding your opponents to about 130 yards a game on the ground, 105 yards passing, and only 48% on third down conversions. What can you say, especially that? Because it seems like every head coach focuses on third down plays, how to get to third downs and stopping them, making it hard for your opponents to play. What can you say about that play this year, keeping opponents
Yeah.
at
So
48%?
so Mark Bruns is our D coordinator, and he brought the he was down in Cincinnati several years and learned the 3-3. We call it the 3-3 stack. And then he got that from St. X down in
Okay.
Cincinnati, Big St. X. And so there's a lot you can do a lot with it, and that's the same thing Anna runs. You can, and we just give teams so many different looks and blitzes and just all kinds of different stuff that they dial up. One of the things that we did after the first Anna game, our offensive line guys were trying to play both ways. They're older guys, um, and we found that they just weren't quite big and stout enough
Okay.
physically. So we inserted three starting defensive linemen are sophomores, and they're we knew they were going to be really good, but we didn't know was it going to be this year, and we found out.
Yeah.
Fortunately, one's about two. Nolan's about 6'3", 230, and Braylon Gerlach's about 6 foot, 225, and our nose guard is a really good wrestler. He's about 195
All
pounds.
right.
And so those three, when we inserted those three, they were better than the older guys, but also now our old O linemen are fresh all the time.
Yeah.
So
And no, good
those
point.
seven, those eight guys, the starting O and D linemen are all one way players now. That really helped us just stay healthy and play well.
Yeah, and I guess going into that point, with Hopewell-Loudon, they have a really, really good defensive line and offensive line, but now with having guys only playing one way, how do you think that's going to lead to success this upcoming Friday against that strong Hopewell line?
Yeah, well, hopefully, as the game goes on, with the, that's our biggest concern right now is really probably your D line versus our O line. It makes big number 70. I don't know. I know all numbers. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
know
yeah.
the numbers very well, but number 72. I mean, we played Tri Village, and they have a D1 lineman who's 6'4", 285, and has had like 10 offers D1, and your guys, I think, is overall a better player. He's just tougher and just 100 miles an hour all the time. So that's a huge concern for us. Is that O and D line?
Yeah, and they've given opponents just struggles this year too, especially on the ground game. I mean, they don't give up. They give up under 100 yards per game, and just forces opponents to play uncomfortable. Have there been points to where your team has come and played in an uncomfortable spot, and they've been able to overcome it and still come out with victory?
Yeah, those games we lost, we had trouble up front. Marion, we had a tough time, and Anna, both times against Anna. New Bremen does a lot of stuff, and we're pretty big, thick guys, and we did have trouble, getting touchdowns. To be
Yeah,
honest with you, we moved the ball okay, and we had some penalty issues for a while, and just some discipline, getting in second and 15s because you jumped off, stuff like that. That
yeah.
normally we don't have, that we did this year early, and so hopefully we can correct that.
What's it like preparing against a team who can throw 2, 3 guys in the backfield taking snaps
Yeah.
during a game?
There's some positives and negatives to that, right? With the tendencies, when certain guys are at quarterback, you kind of, you can say, okay, when this guy's in, it's going to be these couple things
Yeah.
or whatever. But they do a good job of mixing things up, even when the non-throwers are in there, they throw enough to keep you off balance.
What big things are you getting out from this Hopewell team in preparation, and what do you think have to lead to your success and your keys to the game on Friday night?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just the same stuff that everybody says about can you can you prevent turnovers, right? Is always is a huge thing. Can we get them off the field? Can we get them? Those third down plays you talked about. We lost the carry in the state finals in 21. They had a big old low line and running
Yeah.
back, and we didn't play terrible, but it was 3, 3, 4 yard first down, 3, 4, 4. Up, we're going for it on 4th and 1, first down,
Hmm.
and you just don't get enough, possessions to make, and then you don't get into a rhythm when that happens, and so yeah, it'll be interesting to see who can get a couple scores.
Yeah, and it seems like too that it's the long possessions that can get the teams, and that kind of seems like a motto for Hopewell this year is the time of possession, keeping the ball, and forcing teams to stay on defense and wearing them down hard. And I mean that probably goes your guys' way as well. How do you approach the time of possession into a game?
Well, we try to figure out what works best for us. So possession, I guess, uh, when we're on offense, I guess we don't care too much
Yeah,
if we come out with points. But obviously, when you're on defense, like you said, those long drives just, and then if you don't score the next drive, then all of a sudden you're back out there, and it just, like you said, it wears you out, and you can't figure out, a lot of what goes into it is figuring out during the game what can we do better, what plays can we run
yeah.
that are going to work. But if you're not out there, you can't make those adjustments.
Right. Getting to the final four. It's for a lot of teams, it's like it's really special getting here. Just can you explain to me on what it's like just to get to this point of the season? And a lot of what I hear is it's a privilege to get to Thanksgiving week. So what's it like for you, coach?
Yeah, you just said it. We love to practice on Thanksgiving morning, 9 o'clock. Right, that's our standard time for Thanksgiving morning. Like I said, Coach Reed kind of set the standard of making the playoffs, and I think this is, I don't know, we have the state record 28 in a row, I think, something like that.
Yeah, it was like I think I saw 29 appearances in a row.
29 in a row,
Yeah.
and so we take a lot of, I guess we take a lot of pride in that standard, that we're going to make the playoffs, and then try to just, you just keep playing. I don't know, we don't try to overthink it
Yeah.
as far as, hey, we got to make it to the final four. You just take them take them one at a time and keep playing, and hopefully the kids can stay healthy and go play.
Yeah, and that was going to be another one of my questions here is when you get to that state semifinal game, I mean, you get on the bus and you get to the facility and it's game time. Just what's the message to the kids?
It's pretty much the same,
Yeah.
every game for me. Control what you can control is always one of them. At that point, hopefully they've prepared, and then, like I said, we try to convince them to play fast, loose, and focus, and whatever happens, just keep playing, keep. You just keep playing, and if things don't go well, just, you try to convince them that, whether we win or lose, we're going to keep playing the whole time.
Yeah, no, and that's huge. Just at least if you could put your full effort into the whole game, then that's probably a good feeling for you as a coach that you know that the kids put everything they had out there for those whole 48 minutes.
Yeah, yeah, and they understand that we care about them, whether we win Friday or lose Friday. We're not going to care about them any less the next day, and
Yeah.
and we'll regroup, and we'll celebrate the season, and try again next year, I guess.
Right. I appreciate your time sitting down with me and having this interview. Like I said, we're really looking forward to this game because I mean, if you look on the other side of the bracket, you guys know, Kirtland, they're in the state semifinal game. You guys beat them last year for the championship. It seems like that there's something special about this Division 6 Final Four this year. Like each
Yeah,
team that are in, they earn their way in, and anyone out of the four teams can win a state championship.
exactly right. Like you say, It's all that stuff, making those play. We talk a lot about when you get the opportunity, you got to make plays. Like I said, we stopped 2-point play conversions last week that ultimately kind of won game. Cade Nobringer made a great catch and run on the one touchdown we had last week. And our field goal kicker, when
Yeah.
you get an opportunity, can you make those plays? And that's probably what's going to happen Friday night. That somebody's going to make them and somebody's going to fall a little short.
Yep, come down into the fourth quarter, and who's gonna have to make those tough plays. Um,
Yeah.
we're excited. We'll be there. Obviously, we can't have it live streamed, but we will have a live audio with the game cast. So there'll be a visual during the game, and then we'll have a delayed video broadcast afterwards. But looking forward to catching you guys and covering some Coldwater football as well. Get some action in here with Heart of Ohio Sports, and then
There
just
we
just
go.
looking for
Yeah.
a good game. But once again, I appreciate your time, and if anything, we'll just catch up with you on Friday before the game.
All right, Connor. Sounds good.
All right, you have a good one. Thank you.
Yep. You too.